Hello everyone, it's Ink here, and we're back with Star Trek Armada 3. Yep, can't get away from this for long. So, when I finished off my Dominion playthroughs, I suggested that I might go through all of the factions in both Star Trek Armada 3 and Sacrifice of Angels. And it's Borg time. So, we are, like I said, with Star Trek Armada 3. We're going to be doing that one first. Now, the approaches to the Borg in both mods are very different, and it's going to be very interesting to compare them. Now, do I actually want to load up on everything? Let's see, we've got a Class D asteroid there. Pull back on that for a moment. Let's see, I need colonization 1. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop a couple of adaptation nodes. Well, I would drop a couple if I could actually place them down, so that's a thing. Okay, so as I was saying, the two mods have very different approaches to the Borg. Like, they have very different approaches to most factions, but the Borg are particularly interesting. Mostly because the Borg in Star Trek Armada 3 are theoretically balanced. Like, if you went into a multiplayer game, then theoretically someone could play Borg and someone could play another faction, and it would be an even match. Now, in practice, it's a little more complicated than that, but I'll come on to that. So, first thing to note, which I will do now because I don't know when I'm actually going to build one of these again. Yeah, Borg starbases take up a lot of space. I'm going to go ahead and drop it down there because I physically can't fit it here. And the reason why they take up so much space is, as you give them upgrades, they actually get bigger, which is mildly terrifying. Nope, I don't want that. Go back. Okay, here we go. So, we are building our basic interceptors. Sorry, I'm getting deja vu. I feel like I might have done something about this before, but that might have been a video which I ended up deleting, because not everything I record goes up on YouTube. Strange but true. Alright, put that to one side. Move on. Okay, so what we have is we have our basic interceptors. Now, it's been a while since we went through Star Trek Armada 3, but just a quick comparison between these guys and the basic frigates which we've seen, the Raslak and the Armada. These are pretty tough, and they do have a reasonable amount of firepower, but they're not super scary in their own right. But this thing, the basic capital ship for the Borg, the Trapezoid, is kind of a different matter. Yes, that is 20,000 health. I'm going to go ahead and grab Assimilate Planet, and we're going to head over to Calliope, and just try and grab that ASAP. That's just a basic marquee outpost, so that's not going to take much time at all. In terms of other stuff we've got around here, let's see, we've got a Class D planetoid, a couple of Class D asteroids, we have a couple of Cerulean nebulas, which are going to be interesting to deal with. 70% penalty to weapon cooldown and a 30% penalty to weapon range. The Cerulean nebulas in the original Armada 3 were actually a lot more powerful than that. They disabled weapons and shields entirely, and if you were inside a Cerulean nebula, you couldn't be damaged, period. There are like a few ways to cheat that, but fundamentally, if you were inside one of those, then you were safe. But because shields were disabled, you couldn't heal either, so they had some things which you had to deal with. Let's take a look at the Trapezoid again. It's big, it's scary, and we fought a few of those in my big Federation playthrough. Speaking of which, we're actually fighting against the Federation. I thought that would be nice and thematic. Now, the Trapezoid is kind of a one-trick pony. It can colonize stuff, of course, or assimilate. It has the harvesting device power, which I'm not super sure about what it does, but there is a kind of a stealth mechanic in Sins of a Silver Empire, where when things die, they'll leave debris behind. And there are a few ships which can basically make use of that. There is one for the... I don't remember what it was, but there are some ships which can actually heal by absorbing debris from ships around them. The trapezoid can generate resources by harvesting stuff in the area, but it can't move while it's doing that, so that's something to be aware of. Then it has the siege beam, which is a ludicrously powerful bombing power, and it has collective coordination, which is a nice aura. Boost to bombardment cooldown and to damage reduction. So the trapezoid is okay as a basic capital ship and as a support vessel, but primarily it's there to bombard and colonize. That's all it does. Which I mean kind of makes sense, the Borg like specializing their ships into specific roles. Now you may be wondering when we get to assimilate things and capture enemy ships. Yeah, that's going to take a while. Borg don't actually get access to all of that sort of thing for a little while. If we take a look at the tech tree, the assimilation tree, here we go. The assimilator is the earliest ship which has the ability to capture enemy vessels, which is kind of a big thing, because if you recall, the Curry class was like tier 2 or tier 3 as I recall. This is tier 5. But Borg assimilation is kind of a big deal, so that's the thing. Now again, no shields, so all you have is your hull, which regenerates more slowly than shields for the most part, but it does mean that these guys benefit a lot more from the percentage boosts which a lot of Sins technologies are based around. Speaking of which, here is one of the important cornerstones of the Borg in Star Trek Armada 3, collective experience. So very early on, you have the ability to boost the level to which you can train stuff. If you recall, you can train capital ships by spending credits, basically. So to begin with, it's kind of slow, there's not a great deal going on. But it's like initially you can't buy it at all. Most races you can buy to like level 2, I think, and you can then upgrade from there. The Borg you actually need to get to research before you can even get to level 2. However, yes, you did just see all my interceptors just jump over there. That's their special power, transwarp jump. It's kind of cool. Very useful for harassing. They also have fracture armor over here, which is damage per second and an armor debuff. Do you recall the Raslac had something similar, but it did less damage and it had less of an armor penalty, so power creep. Now if we take a quick look at the interceptors over here, you can see that they're reasonably expensive, but they're just good overall. They have a bunch of stuff which is helpful. Now here's an interesting thing which is a penalty to the Borg in the early game. Look at that allegiance. Yeah, 25%. It can go all the way up to 100% because it's only a distance of 1 from the capital, but all Borg planets start not at 10 less than the maximum allegiance, but 25%. Which means it takes a while for them to start paying for themselves. And okay, that's just Peregrines and Runabouts, can't do anything about those, so let's move on to Kithra and get a few more interceptors building. Lovely. Let's get a nice big fleet. So it takes a while for them to start earning credits, and it does mean that they're quite vulnerable to culture, oddly enough. Now, Borg culture is pretty powerful in its own right, but if you do manage to overwhelm them, then they're relatively easily going to lose some of their outer stuff, their most recently colonized or captured stuff. So, here we go, the interlink node is the resource, not the resource, the culture station. And you can see there that the culture resistance goes through the roof. They're not very good at spreading, but they hold on to what they have like no tomorrow. And the other thing is that they get a boost to their hull regeneration while in friendly culture, so that's cool.
We serve the collective.
We also do get the trading station, or the trading station equivalent, right off the bat. I'm going to go ahead and trade some resources around to get the research unlock, so I can start building those. Alrighty. And we're stopped for resources, so
Activate all alcoves. We serve.
I'm just going to hold off on that for a moment.
Sector.
If we take a quick look, yep, equal on colonization, everything else is falling behind, which is pretty much what we expect. The AI is always ahead in research. Borg culture spreads slowly, but our fleet's looking pretty healthy. Our defenses are looking good because we have the unit complex. The AI never uses its free starbase constructor for whatever reason. And we're in the lead for credits, so I'll take that as well. That does mean we can grab all our remaining resource asteroids. Lovely.
The collective must grow.
And we have our civic infrastructure done, so looking good, looking good. Now I know that we already have trade port income. This is another thing about Borg starbases. Yeah, they're just going to murder these, so I'm not super worried.
We are Borg.
You can go to
Instructions received.
So, here we go. You'll note that this unupgraded unicomplex has a culture value and a trade income value. Also, it has 80,000 health, but it's Borg. Now, what this is about is the fact that Borg starbases only have one upgrade. You upgrade the unicomplex to a higher tier, and this boosts everything. It's a boost to weapon damage, it's a boost to hull points, hull regeneration, armor, trade income, culture, culture repel, antimatter, and population. It's everything. You start getting more abilities, and there is a reason. You can see I have my little freighters here. There's a reason why I can't get these upgrades, and it's not just that I can't afford them. You physically have to research them. So Borg starbases, yeah, here we go. So basic unit complex, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So Borg starbases get ludicrously powerful if you upgrade them fully. And that's also why they get really big. This does mean that I can go ahead, that's the wrong tab. Here we go, resource node. Just drop that down straight away. And immediately that'll get us a trade route here. Now what do we have left over here? Nothing. Okay, cool. Yep, transwarping through. You have fun, guys. Alright. So I don't have the logistics slots to do anything more. I could get them by spending some resources to upgrade my logistics kit, but for the moment I'm just going to leave it. Alright, so other thing which we need to look at. Here we go. Not adaptation. Where is it? Central Nexus. Here we go. Hotkey. So the Borg have 3 heroes. Heroes are important for all the Star Trek Armada 3 factions, but they are vital for the Borg because they are broken. I'm not even kidding. Let me explain why. So, Advanced Assembly Matrix on capital ships. So here, the Trapezoid. 2,000 credits, 200 metal, and 200 crystal. Cool. 80 supply. If you recall, most of the other capital ships we've seen so far have been like 30 or 50. This is our basic capital ship. This is why this thing has 20,000 health, and is still considered to be balanced. It's over double the supply cost. Now, I believe the next thing we unlock is the Tactical Sphere. Yes, 150 supply, double the cost. It's got way more damage output. These things are incredibly hard to kill, as we found out. Diamond, which is like a side grid from there as a support vessel. 120 supply, 3,000, 300, 300. The Assimilation Cube, 180 supply. The Tactical Cube, 200 supply. All of this. Now, take a look at the central axis. We have the Queen, which is a special variant of Diamond. We have 7 of 9, who is a special variant of Tactical Sphere. And we have Locutus, who is a special variant of an Assimilation Cube. All of these guys are free and only take up 50 supply. Do you see what I mean? Okay, so we have this place. Grab our upgrades. Lovely.
Activate all alcoves.
Okay, and now we're going to grab Daedalus. So we do have the pirate base over there. We're going to have to be a little bit careful.
The collective must grow.
Okay. I do want to get some more scouts up, so I'll build a couple more scout cubes. Lovely.
By your command.
And we have our trade's looking pretty good. We're actually getting 2.2 out of Calliope. I believe that the Unimatrix is kind of inefficient at it at the moment, but hey, it's doing a lot of different things, so can't really complain too much.
We serve the collective.
And we have another Interceptor
Relocate
there.
the grid.
Interceptors are nice. They're pretty good all-rounders overall. You're gonna start replacing them soon enough. The Borg are all about the right tool for the right job, essentially.
Construction complete.
Like with most of the other factions, you have some options of different ships which do roughly the same role. Like towards the end of my Federation playthrough, I had 4 different ships which all fulfilled variations on the heavy cruiser role. I had the Excelsior, the Intrepid, the Defiant, and the Akira, all of which did their own special things. The Akira was probably the best all-rounder, had some decent AoE and probably the best overall stats, but it was pretty expensive. The Defiant was quick, nimble, it could drop minefields, but it had shorter range. The Intrepid and Excelsior were cheaper, but the Excelsior was nice and tough, and the Intrepid had some fun debuffs it could do. So it was all these different things. Wow, that died.
By your
Okay,
command.
so now we grab Collective Coordination, so we have some damage reduction on all of our Interceptors. It's definitely going to help.
Construction complete.
I should have, yep, got my 3 Scout Cubes up,
State
so you should go ahead and explore. What was I saying? Oh yeah, well with the Borg, it's a little different. It's like in terms of the heavy cruiser role, we have the basic sphere, which takes a while to get to. It's pretty good overall, it's a nice ship, but and that's going to be your main frontline combat vessel, basically. You've got the Assimilator, which can capture stuff, but isn't great in terms of its actual firepower. You've got the Wedge, which is specifically for anti-structure work. You've got the Adapter, which is a support vessel. And that's kind of it. Like early on you've got some of the other vessels. You've got the Pyramid, which is the baseline heavy cruiser. Kind of equivalent to the Excelsior in a way. You've got the Obelisk, which is the bombardment vessel. But overall, our tech tree is a lot smaller. And everything has a role, and everything does its particular thing.
Activate all
Okay, so that's all
outposts.
of the...
Assimilate this vessel.
All of the Macaron dealt with nicely. So yeah, you can see that this is a... The early Borg fleets are actually pretty nice. I've yet to actually lose anything, and I did mob up a fair number of interceptors, but some factions have real difficulty. Like, you remember the kind of losses which I took early on with my Federation playthrough. I mean, it does depend on exactly who you're fighting. In terms of the militias, some are going to be scarier than others. That's just kind of the way it goes. I've had some Makarn and some Maquis, and that's hardly a threat. But still, the Borg's thing is that early on they have a fairly solid lineup. Late game, they start scaling out of control, but in the mid game, they're kind of mediocre. So you need to hit them at the right time, is their big weakness. So I'm going to grab another adaptation node, because we can need that in order to grab Tier 1 colonization. Lovely. Let's see, I can grab some mineral boosters. Let's go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to want to grab a assimilation node at some point, but for the moment, just making sure that I have the ability to colonize Elia here. Oh, hello. The pirates have arrived. I could do without that. I don't even have the research for any of this stuff. And yes, they do have a Nausicaan ship, so... Okay, I guess we're rerouting. You guys head over there, deal with the pirates.
The collective must grow. Station construction complete.
I'm not sure what you guys are doing, but if I have to tell you to explore manually, then I will do that. Alright.
Proceed to sector.
Okay, wait. What?
Additional technology acquired.
Are you seriously telling me that the only way to get to the Federation is through the pirate base? Well, this is different. I have played a lot of games of Sins, and I have never seen a map like this. This is bizarre. Okay, sure. Whatever floats your boat, I guess. That's so weird. Okay, yep, moving on. I'm gonna grab myself an assimilation node right here. And then we're gonna let's grab a logistical upgrade, and I want to get a resource node.
Station construction complete.
Good.
Station construction
Now you may have noticed in the tech tree here that we don't actually have any kind of refinery. The Borg have the ability, which for some reason is down here, to basically convert resource nodes into buffing gathering rates of dilithium and titanium. I've shown you that with in an extreme form with the Nor stations in Sacrifice of Angels, which provided a huge buff to all sorts of things and could still function as trade stations, but those are like... I think that's entirely unique in all the mods which I've seen. In the vast majority of mods, you basically have to flip it from one mode to the other. Alright. So, once we've dealt with these guys, what are we going to do? Yep. We're just going to go down here, we're going to colonize all of these places. And we do actually have some assimilation research, so I'm going to go ahead and research the dodecahedron. We have the probe down here, which is the Borg corvette, but they're actually kind of terrible. I've never found a really good use for them. I mean, sure, they're nice and quick, but interceptors have transport, so I don't really see why it has ever used them. They don't even have any kind of area buff like the Miranda's get, so I don't know. It's weird, man.
Additional technology acquired.
Alrighty, so we have the beginnings of a trade network going. Lovely. Let's go to fortification. I want defense nodes because I don't want to be having to divert my forces again. So there's one. There's two. Lovely. And these are pretty formidable. You can see down there, 8,500 health and a pretty decent amount of firepower in 3 different types: cutting beams, isokinetic pulses, and gravimetric torpedoes. Isokinetic pulses are the anti-fighter blasts, essentially. So these guys can even handle carriers pretty comfortably. And I am in fact going to look at grabbing. So I'm getting the technology for them, or I will as soon as this assimilation node is done. I'm going to grab a couple of these. Well, one, since I can actually afford one. I'll be able to afford more when this dies, whenever that is. So we last looked at this place 60 seconds ago. They have 15 K2 retaliator turrets and a Tiger Core battle station, along with the supporting fleet. So
Activate all alcoves.
yeah, it's going to be a while before we can actually hit this place. So it's good in that it gives us a chance to build up our fleet.
Activate all alcoves.
And actually get into a position where we can take on the Federation, and we're basically being forced to have equal resources. That's going to be interesting. But at the same time, it's going to be kind of annoying if we're just constantly fighting pirates until then, so I don't know, we'll see. In the meantime, let's see, we can do population increase for Type 1 worlds, which I'm not super worried about because it's a tiny amount. Although it is really cheap research, so... Is that really just 6% at max? No, that's not worth it. That's really not worth it. I'll go ahead and grab interlink research, because I'm probably going to want some interlink nodes.
State objective.
In the meantime, here we go, happily murdering. They have a Badlands Nebula here. What do these do? I forget. Penalty to weapon range and chance to hit. Okay. Not quite as severe as Cerulean, but it's the same sort of thing. We have a debris field. This is a wonky map. I guess we'll find out what the rest of their side is like, but alright, so another trash car down. Just got this last one to kill. Lovely. Of course, I'm used to these things being called Chelgrats, which is their name in Star Trek Online. Yes, I do play Star Trek Online. I don't know, I may do some content about that if it's requested. It's not really my channel theme, though. And I would not claim to be a amazing player by any standards. I'm good enough to get by in the advanced queues. That's good enough for me. We have another rank, so we can't unlock Siege Beam because that's like the ultimate ability. Not super worried about the harvesting device, and a bit more population isn't that big a deal, so let's go ahead and boost up collective coordination. Lovely. And that gets us some more dilithium nodes, which is excellent because we're a little starved for dilithium. So over to Palatina. And we've got Icernia over there, and that's going to be everything we can colonize. At that point, we're going to need to start looking at just building up, teching up, and getting ready to bust through Gregorius. I mean, we do technically have an alternative to just completely bypass this place. Let's see. It's under adaptation, I think it might be. Long range sensors, that's that. Deep space beacons, it's here somewhere. It's under fortification. Here we go, Transwarp Gate. So it's only 3 assimilation nodes, actually. Basically, you remember the holonet relays, which I'm using in Sins of Galactic Empire? Transwarp nodes work the same way. You drop them down, and any 2 places which have a transwarp gate, you can warp between, regardless of the usual map. So if I was able to head out here and like maybe colonize this place, Okay, yeah, there's Task Force 16. So I have a small lead in colonization. If I was to head over here, I got 3 assimilation nodes, and I dropped down transport gates, then I could just get stuff straight from here to here, and it would be fun and amazing. And I may look at doing that. That could be entertaining. It would be a way to knock the AI off balance, and provide a forward outpost, if you will, without having to deal with actually killing pirate base, because that's going to be a lot of investment in time, ships, and resources. In the meantime, I do have a fair amount of resources to play with, which I should be spending. Spend your resources, people. Okay, we're going to spend money to make money, as they say. So we've got our resource node. I'm going to grab an interlink node there. Okay, over here I don't have anything built. This is terrible. So we want another assimilation node. And we're going to grab another resource node. Lovely. Looking good, looking good. Okay, so priorities. We want to get the obelisk, and then we want to get the Borg Queen, because, as I said before, Borg heroes are broken. So we need 190 dilithium in total, and it's going to be a fair number of other resources, but we can actually sell some threats, so let's go ahead and do that. Juggle things around a little bit. There we go. Obelisks and Borg Queen. We're also going to need a logistics upgrade, but we're just going to hold off on that for now. You are going into colonize. Lovely. You do the thing. This is a penal colony. Alright. I think we've got another one of those as well, actually. Alrighty. Good, good. Excellent. So, civic infrastructure. Sure, juggle that. Good, good. Done the thing. Alright. We do actually have a couple of Norse Light Raiders in here, which is going to be mildly annoying. Let's see. I do actually have a dodecahedron over here, which I can send to join the fleet. Okay, so this is something I didn't actually realize. The dodecahedron is a pretty nice ship. It actually has the evasive maneuvers power of the sabers. It also has defensive formation, I think. Like, it's not actually showing any area buffs. Like, I don't actually have enough ships to do it, so that's the thing. Let me grab a rank of logistics and start building a couple more. But dodecahedrons are a little more expensive than interceptors, and they're shorter range. They do less damage, but they're a little tougher. And they use isokinetic weapons, which means they can take down fighters, and they're pretty flexible overall. So they're nice ships. And then we have the obelisk, which is the classic siege destroyer, which has pretty much the same sort of role as the Norway, in that it is pretty powerful. It's got double the firepower. It's actually got nearly double the health as well, so this is a lot tougher than the Norway is compared to the old school sabers. I'm actually going to need drone 8 as well. It's funny that the numbers go in reverse order, I didn't actually notice that. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and grab drone 8. But yes, the difference is that the obelisk doesn't have the Norway's shield console. That's the only thing that the obelisk can do is nuke planets, essentially, reduce the population growth on them. Then we get straight into the pyramid, and then after that things start getting more interesting. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to go for a heavy capital build, which is just generally a good idea with the Borg. Okay, yeah, we've got pirates coming in, but we have 2 defense nodes up, so I'm not super worried. I am going to go ahead and grab a rank of strategic fortifications, though, just because.
State new directive.
Yes, you're building. Okay, so let's wait around for a moment. That'll get us another one. Lovely. So that's 5 dodecahedrons, which we've got coming up. I'm actually going to tell you guys to move over here and engage those. So, over here we have an Norscan light rated to kill, which is going to take a little time because of all those penalties, but on the other hand we have a lot of ships, so with pure alpha damage we'll be able to deal with it nicely. I'm sorry, apparently my computer decided to attack everyone. With loud notifications. Alright, so, planetary simulator. This is a weakness of the Borg. You flat out need these. These are the only ways you can capture these asteroid nodes. So we're going to have to wait on those to actually be able to get hold of these, and these ones down here. In the meantime, do we? Yes, we do. We have the Queen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to summon her straight here. There she is.
Negotiation is irrelevant.
So you can see that she's a bit tougher, and she does a fair bit more damage than a trapezoid. Now in terms of her powers, she is a pure support thing. This is her big fancy trick, the Collective. It's a significant boost to hit, but more importantly, 50% boost to hull restore rate right off the bat. Having the Queen in fleet makes Borg fleet way more survivable. Let's take a look at our dodecahedrons in action. Yeah, you can see that thanks to those isokinetics, they're basically firing at everything nearby, so they spread out their damage quite nicely. So they might not be as good as focusing something down as an interceptor is, but they're pretty nice ships. Okay, you're gonna head over there. I've got some more dodes there. Okay, we have our planetary simulator, which is going to go over here. Excuse me. Alrighty. So yeah, once we've dealt with all of these guys, yeah, we've taken a bit of damage, but it's not too bad.
I am the beginning.
Thank you, darling. Now, in terms of other stuff that the Queen gets, we have the radionic pulse, which affects everything in an area. Which is a penalty to hit chance and hull restore rate to everything that it hits. So like it's only 5%, which doesn't seem that big a deal, and it only lasts for sort of 4 seconds. Again, not that big a deal, especially with that cooldown, but it builds up, and the fact that it affects everything, a lot of AoE powers don't actually affect everything in range. Strange but true. And you can see that she's just nuking everything. She's got... Borg capital ships are exceptionally good at targeting lots of opponents. And then we have Ultranium Burst, which is just a flat-out AoE power. Hits 8 people for 375 damage. It's kind of cool when it happens, because it doesn't just shoot everything, it's like zap, and then it bounces, like so. You've probably seen it in the background in some of the Federation playthrough. So we have our planetary simulator in place. Lovely. I'm going to tell you to move over here so you're not constantly moving back and forth to actually capture these things. Lovely. So, I've got a handful of Marquis, which are going to die horribly. We've still not... none of our interceptors have actually been in serious danger of dying at all, ever. So how are we looking? We're not doing too badly, overall. I suspect that the presence of this pirate base has kind of screwed with the AI's ability to work out what it's doing. But it does have a set of stuff colonized over here. It's only a matter of time before they get to Scythia and move on from there. We've got a bunch of nebulas around there. Actually kind of surprised that they haven't reached here yet, but I guess we'll see what happens. Matara Nebula. What do Mataras do? Reduced chance to hit, but minus 100% shield block. Oh boy. So basically damage goes straight through your shields. That's a little exciting. Okay. Yep, we've dealt with stuff there nicely. We're going to head over to the Cerulean Nebula over here and kill the Light Raiders who are in position there. Got a couple of... yeah, I've just got some basic fighters left, so let's go ahead and colonize. And then that'll be it. We'll be done with our side of the map.
We serve the collective.
Alright. So, let's see, we've got some more upgrades we can do. We've got a lot of resources which we can start using, so let's do that. Let's see, we want assimilation nodes. Sure, I will double up on assimilation nodes. You'll note that the advanced assembly matrix actually takes up 8 logistics slots, which is, I think, unique for the Borg in Star Trek Armada 3, just because Borg capital ships are so scary. There is a reason why I want to go for a pure capital build, because when you rely on Borg sub-capitals, they tend to die a lot, I've noticed. Like, they just don't stand up as well. Lovely, we've got that colonized, so let's get things going. I want a resource node right there. Okay.
Activate all alcos.
And you're going to head back there.
Initiating new directive.
Okay, so we've got 4 assimilation nodes at this point, so what do I want to do with that? We actually get a fair number of upgrades because...
Stated new directive.
Right, yeah, we built 2 at once there, so that's why we had the sudden jump. So, let's grab the tactical sphere and let's grab 7 just straight away. And grab drone 7, so we can go ahead and summon her. 7 of 9 is the tank. She is ludicrously resilient, even by tactical sphere standards, so that'll be fun.
Instructions received.
As for this place, let's see. No, they still haven't actually colonized this place. So they do have a Voyager, an Ambassador, and 2 steam runners in place. So they're working it over, and they'll probably have it colonized by the time we get through there. We've also got a large fleet. 2 Excelsior, 3 Curry, 2 Curry, 3 Centaur. It's working over the Marquis here. Yeah. So they're not weak by any means, but they are a little behind us, and I suspect they were just hobbled by.
Is under attack.
Supplies under attack. Oh, pirates again. Hi guys, must you? Let's take a look at our defense node. Gloriously weird and asymmetrical. See, they actually get some fun abilities later on once you research them. And it just got in range. Alrighty, so we've got the Eurocentron and we've got the Rapier class here, but that's...
Station construction complete.
yeah, that's taking damage pretty nicely. And we've got our other defense node here. Something I mentioned in elsewhere is that the Borg just don't have Strikecraft at all. They do in Sacrifice of Angels in a very technical sense, and you'll see what that's like when I get to that side of the comparison. In the meantime, you can see even with 70% weapon cooldown penalty, she's still firing beams like no tomorrow. So that Raider's almost dead. This one's just down to half shields. Alright. So we've got a tactical sphere underway, we've got 7 and 9 underway. Negotiation is irrelevant. Yes, Borg have no diplomacy tree. Okay. So what else do I want to do? There's nothing I'm super worried about. I'm going to go ahead and grab the next extraction rate researches. And over here, harmonic modulation. It's going to be an upgrade for our turrets, which will boost the, allow them to disable enemy weapons. Can get a unicomplex there. That could be fun. And with the ability to research transport gates. I'm going to go ahead and grab both of those researches, which is going to clean me out, but they'll pay for themselves soon enough. And the next thing we're looking at getting anyway is 7, who is in fact free. And that will give us three pretty decent capital ships. Speaking of which, our trapezoid has gone up in some ranks, so let's go ahead and grab the siege beam, because I'll probably find use for that soon enough. So we have the trapezoid, we have 13 interceptors, we have the queen, we have 5 dodecahedrons, and very soon we will have 7 of 9 as well. So that's a pretty decent fleet. That might actually be enough to at least threaten this place. I suspect we'll lose stuff if we try and go in there, but for the moment that's something to bear in mind. Meantime, what else can we do? We don't have... do we have anything built here? We do have one thing built here. Okay, let's go ahead and grab logistical development.
Additional technology acquired.
I want to grab an interlink node. And then let's go ahead and grab another assimilation node. How's our economy looking? So we're sitting on 10.4 with our trade port income. Our trade income is not bad, and our dilithium's fallen behind a little bit, but it's still pretty good. Now you notice that all these numbers are pretty nice, considering how little research I've already put into it. 10.4 trade income at this point in the game of 5 planets is pretty significant, right? Well, here's the other balancing factor with the Borg. I haven't looked at the negotiations yet. This is a 1v1, so we're never going to be friends, but we have a relationship of 1.9 to the Federation, because the Federation are great at getting people to like them. We're sitting on 1.3. I'm getting mixed up with Sacrifice of Angels. Sacrifice of Angels, Borg have a flat -10 penalty. Yeah, that's just it. But here's the thing. Borg get no researches, which means, in the diplomacy tree, which means that you cannot get any of the resource sharing, you cannot get any of the embassy boosts, you cannot get any ambassadorships, you cannot get any boosts to your relationship, flat boosts to your relationship, you cannot offer missions. All of this stuff is off the table, which means that it is incredibly hard to make friends with anyone. You can't even send the resources to each other. Like, in the rare instance that the Borg do get to ally with someone, yeah, you can't send resources to each other. You can't support each other in any way. The only way you're actually going to be able to get to the point where you can make any kind of alliance with them is specifically by beating up people they don't like. So that's kind of a big deal. Kind of a limitation. Alright, so we almost have 7 of 9, lovely. Now in terms of getting our transwarp network up, if we take a look here, unified transwarp, Unimatrixes can use transwarp gates. We don't have access to that yet, so have to bear that in mind. Now the transwarp gates are over here under tactical. They take up 4 slots. The equivalent device in the base game, which is used by the Vasari by the way, is also tactical, but it takes up 8 slots as I recall, so you have to be kind of sparing with them. I'll go ahead and drop that there. And I will get another one over here. Lovely. I'm gonna grab one here as well. Or I would if I could afford it. Hold on. There we go. I can eventually drop this because I'll be able to just use the Unicomplex, but for now that's going to be useful. That's going to provide me decent links all the way across here. I'm also going to want to grab, here we go, a Unicomplex assembler to drop in these places just to finish up my links and give myself a little bit of reinforcements around here. Of course, in a Cerulean Nebula it's going to be annoying, because yes, that does affect starbases, so the range is going to be terrible, the weapons are going to be awful, but they're going to be in just as much of a problem. And it'll provide me with some advance warning, and we're going to have to send you around the long way. There we go. To claim that place. Okay, so we have 7. So let's go ahead and summon her in. 7 of 9. Pre-rescue, I guess. Don't talk to me how that works. Star Trek Armada 3 doesn't exactly have a storyline behind it. Now, what can 7 do? Interplexing Beacon, 3,000 credits. Yes, she can. This is the big fleet summon power. Alternatively, you have Collective Defense, which is a penalty to her weapon cooldown and her damage output. But her armor goes up by 25, she repairs 66 hull per second, and she taunts everything around her. 7 is who you have to make sure that your fleet doesn't die. She is important. And this is the other reason why I said that the Borg heroes are so important. They have really unique roles which you can't really replace with other things. The Borg Queen's regeneration aura is vital. 7's big taunting ability is really important. And Locutus is probably the best debuffer in the game. So although he rides around in an assimilation cube, he can't actually assimilate people. It's the Wolf 359 thing. You never saw anyone get assimilated at Wolf 359. Of course pirates showed up here. Why wouldn't they?
Station construction complete.
There we go. 3 defense matrices. And as soon as this is done, then yeah, it'll be fine. Take what, 65 seconds to build? That's more than enough. Alright. So, here we go. We have 3 capital ships. We have a reasonable sub-capital fleet. I'm going to go ahead and get the next rank of drone. And then I want... what's the ship here? Oh yeah, that's the planetary simulator. Okay, I want to build myself a Unicomplex assembler. And then in terms of ships, we want to get some pyramids, which are going to be a nice...
Station construction complete.
A nice early game bit of muscle, which we can use to just bust this place down. Like I said, I could do something fancy, head over here, colonize this place, and just use transport nodes to bring stuff in, while they can't really touch me, but I think I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. So we have our... yeah, our Unicomplex assembler is up and running. I'm going to send that over here. Yes, yep, you can see transport node is doing its thing. So I've got... yeah, they're shooting my assemblers, which is a problem, but that's... the defense node is going to be up before it finishes. Before they finish killing that, so yeah, there we go, lovely. This one is undamaged. We're probably going to lose this one. But yeah, you can see that this has had its weapons disabled briefly, so we got the harmonic modulation power. And yeah, there goes the constructor, but what can you do? Okay, this is now dying, but again, this is going to be done before they cause a problem. And then we will have 2 defense nodes against a couple of rather beat-up pirate ships. Big deal. Okay, so we have our first pyramids up. Pyramids can do a bunch of things. I forgot about this. So no, you don't actually need to use planetary assimilators to capture stuff. You can use pyramids. I completely forgot that little detail. But we have shield drain torpedoes, which do a bunch of damage to shields and knock out. Also reduce shield block, so some more of your damage slips through. We also have reinforced hull, so nice little self buff in the same sort of vein as the Norway's shield console.
We wish to improve ourselves.
So, lovely, we've got
Initiating new directive.
stuff coming through. I'm going to go ahead and just queue up my pyramids. No, I'm not. Hold on. How much space do I need? I need 150. Of course I need 150. How much space do these take up? Okay, yep, cancel. I have a higher priority. I want a tactical sphere. Alrighty.
Construction complete.
So we have 2 fleets assembled. We have our Unicomplex assembler has arrived. So yeah, this is another thing. Unicomplexes are expensive. That's 5,000 credits in total. These are basically just straight up tier 2 star bases. So juggle some resources. Hello. And you can go ahead and sit there. And when that's done, we'll have a nice linked up trade network. Or I would if I'd actually built anything here. I feel dumb. Okay, need a resource node. Logistical development. How are we looking here? We've got 5 and 2. Is there any research which I need to look at getting? So we've got assimilators. We almost have assimilation cube research. By the way, this is the Dreadnought. Insatiable curiosity, transcendent logic, malevolent epiphany, assimilate the creator. So, you might not be able to tell from this silhouette here, and it's not super obvious unless you played Star Trek Online, but yeah, the Borg Dreadnought is V'ger. A small version of V'ger, but still, it's V'ger. Now, bearing in mind that the top tier Borg capital ship is the Tactical Cube. It uses 200 supply. That's more than the basic dreadnoughts of some factions. So the progenitor dreadnought must be pretty special, right? Yes, it is. It uses up 3 capital slots and it costs 250 supply. 250, it might even be 350. It costs ludicrous amounts of resources, and it can one-shot just about any ship in the game.
Station construction complete.
They're fun. I've never actually got to use them properly. Someday I will do a lengthy Borg gameplay where I will actually build a progenitor dreadnought and murder people with it, and I will be happy. Now, lovely, we have our tactical sphere, so that is 4 Borg capital ships that we have unlocked. So what do we want to do with it? Well, the tactical sphere is kind of a tank vessel, but in a different way to 7. 7 just attracts fire and says, hit me, I dare you. The tactical sphere instead has a game of, so why are you hitting yourself? So we have Obliterate, which is a broad scale debuff to everything around it. Absorb fire, so it gains antimatter from being shot at. And here's the key one, feedback pulse. When people shoot at it, while this is active, they take damage, and some of the damage is... They take automatic damage, and some damage is also reflected. And then we have nanite consumption, which is basically debris around it gets consumed to repair the ship. So, get into the middle of a big fight, these take a long time to die. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab Obliterate. Obliterate? Let's grab Feedback Pulse off the bat. I'm just going to wait for this to get into position. Lovely. And then we're going to go ahead and attack Gregorius. And if we can actually claim this place, then that is going to be... There's the Nova.
By your command.
They're trying. Bless their hearts.
Proceed to sector.
Alright. Okay. What can we do? We've got a lot of resources which we should start spending. I want to grab a transport gate here because why not? And give me another defense node. Lovely. Alright. Nova Scouts in position.
I am 7 of 9.
Okay. So it's been a while since we last looked at this place. Sure. We have Tactical Sphere, we've got 2 pyramids, we've got the Queen, we've got 5 Dodes, all in position, all good to go. Let's move in.
Proceed to sector.
Our primary objective is of utmost importance.
I just realised that I actually forgot to change the Federation from the Cardassian emblem. That's kind of amusing. Alright, so
You must comply.
got the first fleet moving out here. So we're going to have to be a little bit careful because they do have a lot of stuff here. Main thing is going to be staying out of range of the turrets until we're ready. Well, they actually captured a Nova Scout. Okay. So just move into position. Wow, guys, come on,
The collective must grow.
get it together.
Activate all outposts.
Okay, we've got a lot of pirate ships coming in, but I'm not super worried. I'm going to lose some ships, but I have 4 capital ships, 4 Borg capital ships no less to throw at this, so we can make it work. In the meantime, upgrades we can do.
Proceed to sector.
That's a range increase on torpedoes. Let's go ahead and just start grabbing
Relocate.
all the basics. Lovely. I can't actually afford that. Never mind. Okay,
Activate all outposts.
so fleet is in position. That's just the assemblator. Okay, cool. We've got our full fleet in position. So, open fire. What do I want to target? Go ahead and open fire on the theropod. And we're not going to worry too much if we lose ships. It's only if we start losing, if we're in danger of losing capitals, that we're going to worry about pulling back. We're going to worry about pulling back. This should be a nice, nice XP farm, apart from anything else. You can see the little beam, little pulse things coming out. That's the feedback pulse online. So we just hover over this. Trapezoid's taking a bit of punishment. Trapezoid's kind of the weak link in this fleet. It's got the least damage output, it's the least powerful. But it does have the Queen's Aura on it, so that's something. And 7, we do have 7 available to drop a tank power down. So how are we doing? We've lost some interceptors. Our Dodak Agent's not looking super healthy. Yeah, I mean they have a lot of ships here. These are not just cannon fodder. These are some of the heavier pirate ships available, and they do have multiple capital ships. And we're taking down one of them. We're focusing fire on this. In as much as Borg focus fire, they do a lot of area damage, which kind of makes sense given that they tend to be outnumbered, and that's kind of a Borg thing. Send us all the ships you have. We're still gonna kill them. All right. Yeah, you can see that all of these guys are force attacking. They're attacking 7. 7? Where did he go? Oh, some of these guys are on the move, because they're attacking people. Which means I do naturally need to get some defenses up here. Might be a good idea. Okay, a couple of defense nodes, cool. 7, what are you doing?
We are Borg.
Okay. So that's actually good. That's taken out a bunch of the ships from play. How are we looking here? Trapezoid is... well, that's embarrassing. The Trapezoid died. Oh well. 7. There you are.
State your intent.
Okay, so we've lost most of our sub-capital fleet. We still have the Queen and 2 spheres up and running. Along with both of our pyramids. Pyramids are pretty tough. So, what are we doing? Let's just work on taking out some of the cannon fodder, I guess. Both of these theropods are taking a fair amount of damage. Oh, nice, we've got a Eurocentral on low health. Yeah, got a feedback pulse up. Yeah, the remaining capitals are a lot tougher. Kind of surprised we haven't actually gained any levels yet, though. Queen's about to gain a level, so that's something. But some of these ships only really come into their own once they've got a few levels on them. Let me... that's amazing. We actually need civilian research to get the upgrades necessary for the experience buffs which the Borg gets, so we should start building those. Let's see, we've used up all our stuff there. We have a bunch of logistic slots here, though. I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple of adaptation nodes. Cool. And over here, we've got a centaur tooling around and being kind of annoying. Sure, give me a defense node. Give me 2 defense nodes, why not? And then I need an adaptation node back here. And I need to see what's going on with my fleet.
Additional technology acquired.
Okay, so, yep, looking pretty good, but the Queen has gained a level, so what do we want? We want Radiant Pulse or Ultranian Burst? Ultranian Burst it is, yep. There we go, bouncy bouncy. Theropod's about to die. Which is good, because those are actually pretty powerful. And they've got Norway, which is also about to die.
Relocate.
Why are you... keep trying to leave. Oh, I see, they're slowly making their way over here. Which is kind of annoying, but whatever. Technical development. Give me some more, I guess. Just make sure this place is really set up.
Technology acquired.
Okay, so this is the problem at this point. They have a lot of really big, tough turrets. And then they have a battle station over there. But we've taken out the defense fleet. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull back. Because I'm not in a position to be able to take out this place at this point.
Station construction complete.
We didn't even get that much experience. We've almost hit level 2 on a couple of ships. We hit level 2 on the Queen, so I guess that's something, but we lost our experienced trapezoid, which is kind of annoying. Gonna have to replace that.
Our planet is under attack.
Yep. Alright, whatever. You do your thing.
Objective.
Okay. We have a lot of resources. We should spend them. I'm gonna go ahead and get another rank of logistics. Got drone 5 coming up. Okay, adaptation over here. I want collective veterancy.
State new directive.
There we go. Okay, and that's gonna help get our capital ships big and scary, nice and fast. And they've got 3 theropods in here, which we are just going to finish off. Look at all those torpedoes they fire. Those things are cool. Alright, So we're coming up on over an hour. So this is going to be a two-part episode. I'm going to make all of the race comparisons two parts, so basically spread it out over a month for each one. But yes, in the next episode I'm going to get out some cubes. I'm going to... I don't know if I'm going to actually finish off these guys or just push through now that I've killed the main fleet around the thing. 15 turrets is kind of a lot to deal with. Though if I can get wedges, yeah, that's going to be the answer. So I almost have access to the wedge. There we go, wedges, lovely. So next episode I'm probably just going to mob up a bunch of wedges, come in here and bombard the crap out of this place. And then from there I can start I can start invading Federation territory. But at the moment I have a nice lead in colonization and in resources. That's just going to keep stacking up. I'm going to keep building ships, and hopefully we can complete the assimilation of the Federation in this sector. So, yep, next week there'll be more Sins of the Galactic Empire. I have actually had a request, my very first request, for Battlefleet Gothic. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a little research. But Battlefleet Gothic Armada is a lovely game, and I will happily show off some of it. I don't know whether that'll be a series or like a one-off, which I'll throw in at some point, or what, but we'll see. So keep an eye out for that. More Sins of the Galactic Empire. Stellaris will happen at some point. Like I said, it requires a lot of scheduling. I have my work at the moment, which has a wonky schedule, but I will try and get some more Stellaris done, because that's a fun series and it's a fun game. And Gribbler is always entertaining. Last but not least, there's going to be some rebranding of the channel. Pumpkin Soup was what we went under when it was our little group, but I'm not super happy with that name. It's funny enough, there are other channels out there with the name Pumpkin Soup. You wouldn't think it, but there are. But I will make announcements on Twitter, and I'll probably put up an announcement video when I actually switch the name over. It probably won't be super different. I'm still going to be going by Ink, but we will see what happens there. So, yep, bunch of updates, bunch of stuff, bunch of assimilation coming up, and Imperial domination and all sorts of stuff. Do you notice I like to play bad guys? It's a thing. I mean, I'll be honest, when I'm playing Battlefleet Gothic, I'm probably going to be playing Chaos, so think of that what you will. Anyway, folks, yep, until next time, stay safe.